Welcome to Comfortable Conversations. I'm your host, Jazz Kirk, where we dive into the greatest gift life can offer us, discomfort. These honest yet comfortable conversations we will have are essential as your life is your canvas. In each episode, I will share practical wisdom and personal stories that guide you through life's big questions, encouraging growth, self-discovery, and deeper connections in your everyday life.
Why did I just feel like we looked at each other in church and we weren't supposed to laugh?
Don't act up, and you're ready to act up.
I'm not acting up, man. It's Friday. What's up, Jazz? What's good with you? Hi.
Hey, okay.
So,
What you got to bring to the people today? Honey, what you got to say? She's like fidgeting. She's like, she can't get it out fast enough.
I'm like, I need to, yeah. Hi. Dang, remember we thought of something.
I did. So do we want to dive right into it?
Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
Your God gift. So me and Fab were in the car the other day, and we were going to get our flowers, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, all of that. Happy Black History Month. And as we're going to get these flowers from the plant project, I share with Fab how so like divinely in my God gift that like you can pinch me. I feel so magnificently in my God gift. And I was like, isn't it crazy how God really planted our gift right inside of us? It's not like a reach ahead. It's so within us. And he gave us everything we need for it. He gave us like everything is there. And like once you ignite it, you're like, this whole time I had it. Like that's how I feel. So yeah, that's today's topic of discussion.
I was listening to a podcast today. It might have been Trevor Noah. I don't remember. It was either Trevor or Van. That's like my top two right now.
Okay.
And somebody on the podcast was like, you're put on this earth and you're either affirmed or challenged. And I think it could be both. Like at some seasons you're affirmed and some seasons you're challenged.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because I think sometimes we think it's like, oh, I'm being challenged. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Or I'm not in alignment. That actually, I think I still like have trouble discerning between like, is this a challenge I'm supposed to get over or is this not in alignment? Not to like, I don't know if I just hijacked this whole conversation, but I think it is connected. Because some people wait their whole lives for those flowers. Like some people don't want to celebrate those wins immediately, or it's like not good enough.
Because you are terrified the shoe's going to drop. Like there's going to, wherever this magical shoe that's going to drop. And why we call it the shoe
And what kind
drop.
of shoe is it?
Yeah, like let the
it a
shoes
boot?
rain. But either you're being challenged or you're not in alignment. I do think you can tell the difference when you're not in alignment because it starts to feel forced and there's like this massive resistance versus challenge is strengthening you and you feel empowered and like you feel the perseverance as you're growing. Like you feel more like you're being stretched and you're expanding and you're asked to be more flexible versus like out of alignment. It just feels like you got knocked out and you're like, why I keep getting up and getting knocked out? Like,
and then you're like weakening versus
strengthening.
For me, I feel it like in my body. Like I'll have like stomach issues. Like it'll like materialize physically in my body to me when I'm not in alignment. Like
mine is weight gain.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's like weight gain and I'm like something's off. And like the body has told me that like it has come in the weight gain for my body. But I also start to like when I'm alone, I can't settle. Like I'll be really anxious where I'll physically feel like I'm always pacing, but that's what my mind is like doing this loop of like, if we were only in this room, my mind was like, I just need to walk. I just need to walk.
So what is challenge? How does challenge show up for you?
Challenge, usually it's like a little bit of fear. So it's like, ooh, we're scared. And then I'm always like, why are we scared? This is where we're meant to go. It always shows up as like.
It's almost like not goosebumps, but butterflies on like anxious, little anxiousness.
A little anxious butterflies, a little bit of like, are you ready for the thing you asked? Like that's what my body internally feels like. Like, dang, the thing you asked for right here. So are you going to grab it? It always comes back to me. Where out of alignment, it's always outside of me.
Let's talk about the shoe.
I had to start like actively telling myself like there is no shoe to drop. And it took relationships were where I always just was like, you can't be comfortable here. There's going to be a shoe drop. There's going to come a day that it's like, you guys are so in love and you guys love each other and like each other. Oh my God. And then one day he's going to wake up and be like, I don't.
that is a fear of mine as well. People changing their minds. And then somebody kind of threw the mirror back on me one day and was like, is it because you changed your mind? And I was like, oh
yeah, it
and is.
Will do it. Yeah. I am my own shoe drop. So yeah, we are all our own shoe. Like we're in our heads essentially manifesting it to happen.
Have you heard that term or that saying, if you like buy someone shoes, they'll walk out of your life? Oh.
Dang.
Yeah. You've never heard that? I've known about this saying since high school.
So do you buy shoes or no? I've been buying shoes and no one's there.
For other people or yourself? You gonna walk out of your life?
My significant other. I've definitely.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I think
shoes too.
I know I've been bought shoes.
And they not here.
I'm trying to think if I've bought shoes.
You have not, if you can't think. I definitely have bought shoes.
That's like a gift. Please nobody see this that I've bought shoes for and slide in my DMs like, bitch, you bought me some shoes.
Well,
yeah, that's a saying I've heard since high school. But it's funny because it's like the shoe to drop. If you bought the person the shoes and then they dropped.
Well, I don't know, Fab. I've never heard this.
It's fine. We're going down a road.
She said this shoe drop. But a lot of people are really, 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 really terrified of this like shoe drop moment, feel, whatever. And
it's attachment though.
Yeah. And I'm unlearning like that concept of like, when did I pick up a shoe was going to drop? Why did I pick it up? And I'm going to just let it go because nothing's going to happen. Like everything's okay.
Yeah.
And if it does, I'll also be okay.
Yeah. I've tried to adopt the understanding that like there are different seasons for different things, and that just because a relationship of any type doesn't last as long as I like forecasted or expected it to, doesn't mean it's a failure, and doesn't mean that like the shoe dropped. It's more so like this like kind of like ran its course. And I remember in New York, there is, oh man, I hope this place is still open. There was like one of the first like spiritual stores I ever went to that had everything from crystals to like different religious things, like literally everything, candles, whatever. The owner, everyone would go to this store. It was on 14th Street, like Union Square. And you would go and people would be like, yo, go to the Yelp page. And the owner, like, essentially lost his whole family, his wife, his kids, everything.
Oh,
like,
wow.
they all, like, passed in this, like, tragic accident. And I think he was Buddhist, or had some, like, Buddhist teachings. And his words around, like, the tragedy was just like, they were for me to experience, but they were not for me to possess.
Yeah.
And, like, his time with them was his time with them.
So
and
you
he
make
can't,
it
sure, you have grief and, like, you mourn it, but it's just like holding on to the, like, you were supposed to be blah, 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 is like shit that we make up in our head and stuff. And so, like, that release of attachment is really, like, I'm sure nobody is, like, has perfected that mindset, even in yoga too.
Yeah.
But, like, that's, like, kind of where I try to stay grounded in, or at least make sense.
It's a constant surrender and reminding yourself to surrender. I suffered, like, with my last relationship because it was hard for me to let it go and realize, like, this ended because it was meant to end.
Yeah.
Versus, like, this being an attack on you or anything. And, like, what's crazy, the longer I spent with, like, I hate him. The longer I spent with that, the more I felt it in my body, and, like, the harder it was for me to move forward. And I was like, what am I holding on to? And the moment I was like, you're going to give love here because that's what you had. And, like, this lightness came, like, that, like, me and him were able to have a conversation, and I was, like, okay after it, versus, like, the many of times, like, we ran into each other or whatever, and, like, we'd have a conversation and I'd be, like, physically exhausted because it was so heavy that I was like, why is this so heavy on me? But it was, like, that energy shift of, like, hey, you, can't stand you. This is all that went wrong and blah, 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 versus, like, we just ended and there's so much love I have for you. And now I'm in this, like, euphoric space of, like, yes.
Yeah.
You were a really great experience.
That's
Thank you.
beautiful. And honestly, I feel like people should give themselves more time with that instead of, like, being like, oh, let's just be friends. Like, that's delusional. I think it's possible later, but it's like you have to grieve the relationship, like
what you thought
plans,
it would be. Yeah.
Maybe even, like, what you thought of the person. Like, there needs to be that time away before you can transition into, like, the appreciation of it. And I think that is okay. Like,
I think this is a huge conversation because I feel like I've reached my, like, max of, like, hearing about people talk about relationships and what's going right, what's going wrong, because I feel like social media is really, like, like, everybody's having this conversation, but they're making it, like, so instant. Like, there would be moments where I was upset at myself, like, you should have been and moved on by X amount of time. And then you watch movies where they're like, well, if you were with him for a year, then it should take 5 months to get over.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, we had our
you know, that's from Sex
time.
and the City.
Yes, I watch it too much. I had to stop watching. I was like, Charlotte, shut up.
Don't listen to Charlotte. Any of them, really.
But, like, really, I think so often we're like, okay, you're supposed to be on to the next one, healed. And, like, I had a neighbor who told me one day, like, her and her guy had broken, and me and my ex had broken up around the same time, and she's over here crying to me, and I'm like, girl, I'm suffering too, but let me pat you on the back through your heartbreak. And what's crazy, she was like, well, it's been 3 months, and I'm good. I'm over him. I'm healed. And I literally was like, I don't think that's how healing works, but I'm going to let you have it today.
You can't put a timer on that.
And I had to learn, like, that was one of my greatest lessons in my last season of, like, you cannot put a time on it. And I was grateful for the people who were around me who never put a time on it and always was, like, reminding me, like, Jazz, stop putting a time on it. Like, you keep putting a time on it, and give yourself grace. Please give yourself grace. Gift yourself grace.
Yeah. On the contrary, some people be dragging it. No, because, and that's, like, you know, Some people be dragging. Like there is a grace, and then there's a like unhealthy. Let's let this go.
Yeah,
you know what I
like
mean?
you still talking to your therapist about your ex 2 years later, like baby girl. This is my thing. Okay, I'm gonna be real honest with you.
Oh my God.
My thing is like I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. With any ex I've ever had, I was like, I better be over them by the time they have a relationship. And if I run into them and they're in a relationship and I'm not over them, I'll melt on the street right there.
That's your ego. But yes.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can be like, hi. So that's my one that I'm like, girl, that's probably why I'm very honest. Like, let's get on with it. But there are people that I'm like, hey, this person has like truly they're 3-4 past relationships and you're still over here with the same story. Like you have those people who are like the same story and you're like, what about that person are you still looped in on?
It's not even them anymore. It's like the idea of them. That's like people who are like comparing every relationship that they've had to like their high school boyfriend 10 years removed. Yeah. And it's like, first of all, you don't even know that person in high school anymore. What your brain has done is like you're holding on to these like memories, these good memories that are in your filing cabinet of memories. And to be honest, those memories 10 years later might even be warped and you might be forgetting.
That's not who they are.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you don't know this person and it's just like you're self-sabotaging the present because of like your first love or something. Men do this too. They be like, yeah, this girl, said she liked my friend over me in 6th grade. And that's why I can't give my heart away to a girl. I'm like, sir, you are 28.
But there are guys who, one of my exes, and we're still really good friends, he said like, I'm gonna just like, I'll get married, but I'm never gonna give someone my heart. I was like, that's not the point.
How did we get here?
But you're not my problem, so thank God. But I also was like, hey, I hope you know that's like not the point. And that defeats the purpose of like being married, being in love. Mm-hmm. Like, how about we just...
Or even dating. Like, what's the point of even dating if you've already established that?
Because people like companionship, partnership.
For sure.
I'm actually actively like... I feel like now I say more openly like how I do love relationships and being in a relationship versus like old me was like, ick, please don't. Like,
what part was the ick? Like you
commitment but I always had that idea of this like shoe dropping. So I was like, I really don't, you're not going to hurt me. So I would, like I would.
You're like, I'm going to declare this so it doesn't happen.
That's and I was always the girly who the guys were like, she broke my damn heart. She left me. Like, I have plenty of guys who are like, she left me. I loved her. And I was like, were we doing that? I thought we were just cool.
You were the shoe.
I was a lot of people's shoes, yeah. So, but now I'm better. Like, but I was terrified of relationships. It was like the fear of it and fear of being vulnerable and like opening up and somebody really seeing me, even when people say like, people like the idea of me.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, you like the idea of you. So once you stop liking the idea of you and you open up and show yourself and be vulnerable, the rest of the world will follow suit and you will not have that problem anymore that you say is a problem.
Mm. May I ask you what changed?
My last relationship, vulnerability.
Was it before you met that person though? Or like, did you realize that you were kind of, cause before that relationship, you as like Jazz and Honey, you're like vulnerability, everyone.
To it, yeah, but I was to an extent, like I had a threshold to vulnerability.
So what did you, before you got into that relationship, were you like, I can do this, I can try? Or like, was it when you were in the relationship that you were like, oh, I'm going to have to do this?
There was a shift that happened within me right before it. Okay. And I feel like that's the door that opened to say, okay, now you're ready for this kind of love. Mm-hmm. So I do believe a shift happens within you. And so before that relationship, I ended up really saying like, I do want a relationship, and I do wish I have a relationship. I want, like, I actually sat at the park and I literally said everything I want in a partner, and he showed up exactly as that.
Yeah, powerful.
But I also was like, now, who am I? What woman? What version of me am I in this? And like, vulnerability was important to me because I was like, I'm kind of tired of the, like, I wanted marriage, I wanted kids. So I was like, okay, what does this start to look like?
Yeah.
And in that relationship, it kind of was a requirement. Like, I couldn't fake it because, like, he could see right through me. I walk in, I'm feeling away. Oh, we gonna talk about it. What's wrong with you?
Love that.
And I was like, nothing, I'm good. And he's like, all right, if we gotta go get you fed right quick, get you a little drinky drink. But in 30 minutes, you're finna tell me what's wrong with you. And I'm like, damn, I can't have nothing in here. Like, God.
Now you can't have nothing.
I couldn't. I literally remember saying to him, this is Shawshank.
You were crazy for that.
Like, I'm like on
the prison.
I'm on lockdown. I gotta be vulnerable. I can't just run. No, you're going nowhere. We're talking about this. The first argument we had, it was like, I was like, we're breaking up.
What do you mean I have to share my feelings with you?
Yeah, and
my
I'm
partner.
very much the feelings. Let's talk about it. But that's with everyone else. So now I'm like, now that I've had that experience, that I'm like, oh, I love this. And like, you know how you get out of a relationship and situationships come back. And I'm like, bro, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that you've like broken down that barrier, is it so easy to spot it in other people now? Yeah, because I was the same way. Like, as toxic as my last like actual relationship was, I learned like I learned a lot about myself as far as my communication, and also just like needing space, a bunch of things. But now I'm like, oh, that communication is toxic.
Yeah, definitely.
See it from a mile away.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I don't even want to, like, you look forward to actually like sharing, and like you are excited for
having
someone.
A conversation that's uncomfortable, but it's not an argument.
Yeah, I'm like, I live for those moments. I'm like, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
like,
let's get a notebook out. Let's write it down.
So, but it took, and I had to set that boundary with previous individuals where I was like, I had this one guy, like, I really love you, Jazz. And I was like, are we opening a door of like the fantasies of the ideas that we built each other up to be? Time has changed. I have completely changed. I'm not the same version of Jazz that you knew before. So I require a whole lot more, and you're barely even tapping at the surface.
Yeah.
But of course you are, because you're doing the same song and dance we used to do, and I have to get off the wagon. Like, I got to get off the roller coaster. So
yeah, and we need to like normalize being like, you just don't have the capacity to meet me with my needs, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person or anything like that. It's just like we're not in alignment. And that's it.
I grieved that because I've always like had situationships, or as the people say, a roster.
They've been popular for the last 8 years or so.
No, I used to like, this past year was the first time where I was like, I was truly alone. Like I didn't even, like, I had cut all my options off and everything because I was like, that's not who I am anymore. And I'm no longer there, but I wasn't where I really like felt my most confident self. So I'm like, you're in this in-between stage. And like, there would be nights I'd be like, yeah, nobody to text. That's what you get for cutting everybody off. But then I would always feel so good because I'm like, peace. You love her. There was this piece that I'm like, oh, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
So I pray that everybody gets to experience that, like truly being at peace with yourself. Like that love that like starts to brew and come up. And like, when you think about confidence and being able to give yourself grace and gentleness, even this like everyone wants to be in their soft girl era, soft boy era, but I'm like, it's not an era that's outside of you. It's within. When whatever
100%.
moment you're ready to be like, I want life to be gentle as I grow through it. I want to, like, every day I wake up, this softness to be here. Like, you just have to shift and stop asking it to be hard for you.
Yeah. Should we go through and like just clarify what soft life is and is not?
What are you like? Okay, what is it not?
Okay. So like I've seen this discourse for now like a year, maybe 2 years on the internet, because I remember my birthday post, not this past July, but the July before. I was like, I made like Canva cards of like soft life definition, because like some people, what soft life is not is like bougie dinners.
So aesthetic, you're not talking about materialistic aesthetics.
Yeah. It's not like the appearance of
luxury,
a luxury, materialistic based surface level life. Like you said, like it is your peace within being prioritized.
Shift.
It doesn't mean you have to spend money to be soft life. Like, yeah, sure, soft life can include like getting a massage or like, you know, stuff like that. But like there is no funds that is required
to be dispersed in order for this to occur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's accessible to anyone in different tiers, of course. Like, but like if you have an hour to create a soft life environment, then you're participating in the movement.
My soft life is I already live it and it's amazing.
Same.
But like my little gentle walks in the morning.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that.
Making
morning.
My coffee, like tea.
Yeah.
Like,
and that means also like if you really want to create that in your space, like maybe that means you got to get up 2 hours early than what you're used to. Instead of like what it would not be is waking up knowing you have a meeting at 10 and you're waking up at 9:50. You're creating chaos. Even if you've done it a billion times, you roll over, open your laptop, and your video is off and you're present. Like, you know what I mean? But like that's not that. There's going to have to be some like
effort. It's effort and ease. But what you're really talking about, and I think it's even bigger than that the soft life kind of thing, is like when you think about well-being and like health and wellness, like when you think about spirituality and mindfulness and all of that, I think there's such a culture that how it looks like, oh, I can capture this picture or whatever. Some of the best moments you don't capture.
Yeah.
You don't even care to capture that peace, that joy, that happiness, that laughter. And it's like priceless. You couldn't put a price on it if you wanted to. And I think that's what we're really talking about is like step away from your Pinterest board, your what is it? Your mood boards and your bingo cards for the year. Like if you had to close your eyes and say like right now, softness is the touch of this pillow and internally that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's what I honestly pray for everybody to experience, even in their moments of what they feel are hell.
Yeah, being present really does change everything. I feel like once that became an intention for me, it like changed my perspective on so much. And then like it also kind of attracted more things that required me to be present for, which then required me to appreciate. And that's like a big internal and external shift that you can create for free.
So this year my word is joy. Like put the joy back in life. Yeah. Last year I realized my spark came back. But the moment I chose like joy, I think every single moment is so abundant. Like, even when you think of like, before I used to like actively think about like, oh, I have to go get content. And I was like seeking and searching it. And it like, I would be like, oh, that's not content. And this isn't that. And now I'm like, this moment is content. That is content. And it's like this abundant infinite of like, you can't get enough. I could get 200 photos in this room right now if I really wanted to, because that's how much like it's oozing out of you. And that's when I was like, had that shift of like, the soft life is happening now because you chose, like you're choosing it. But
here with the line.
Back to the beginning, God put all your gifts right. God put everything in your God gifted talents. And when you tap into it, it is an infinite source.
Yes, we were talking about Dochi. That's a good job.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like you can get fired from your job.
Felt.
But it's like, it's going to be okay. You got to believe it. You got to have the mindset shift. And I think the theme, like I was talking to a mentor and more so advisor, and she was like sharing like, Jazz, what is your like specificity with what you speak about? And I was like, really, it's mindfulness and like how I translate. Like anything can be happening in life, but like it's that mental shift.
Yeah.
Like you could have a bad day. You can choose to have a bad day, or you can see this as something that's like a lesson, a blessing, or even like you said, affirming or challenging you in the moment. And what are you going to do with it? Lean in? Or are you going to be victim and like, oh no, this happened to me?
Yeah.
Like there was a guy who was like, I came back from Pilates. And he was like, okay, Jazz, you got like 30 minutes for this story. I was like, Jesus, is that good? Okay. And he got 5 minutes in. I was like, I need to hear no more. You're telling your victim story. Like, do you want to spend 25 more minutes retelling me this version of this story when I know you've already told this to so many other people, and the amount of energy it takes for you to sit here and tell this stupid long story when at the end of the day, you are your own problem. You got to come save you. Nobody's coming to save you. And like the moment even I started to realize like, why do you think someone's coming to save you? And I think they portray that in movies with love and all of that. Of
course, yeah.
But nobody's coming to save you. So stop telling your victim story. Let's move forward, lean in. Do the work.
How do they respond to that? You're blocked.
Okay, I have to bring that. No, he was like, I get it, Jazz, but I knew he didn't understand it, and it'll hit him one day.
Yeah, for sure.
It will hit him one day. But speaking of blocked, this is a little rant. So I block, like, not that I block guys, but like, if I'm uninterested or something goes in a certain direction, I am known with my friends as the friend who will block him. Like, cut it off, cut it at the head, end it. And my friend recently has been telling me stories where I was like, girl, if you would have just blocked him, you wouldn't be this deep into this ridiculousness. Like, why are we accepting certain crap from people?
Yeah.
Do you block?
So I was going to ask, I have mostly not blocked. I have only blocked a few, and that was like maybe like a safety thing. But like typically, I'm unblocked. I'm keeping it unblocked because I want to see you reach out to me and me not answer. Like my willpower to not respond is stronger and mostly fueled by competition probably versus like, because I think like some people need to block because they literally have no self-control. Not saying that that's you, but I'm just saying like the people that be, still in things for longer than they should, it's because you're answering. Like you can only do so much.
I do block to prove a point. Like,
yeah, there's that too. There's multiple reasons why people block, but I do think most people block for themselves because they're like their willpower is just not
that's
strong
crazy
enough.
To me, only because you could just go unblock it.
For sure, but it's different when you see someone reach out, because here's the thing. Like, the real part of it is like, I am blocking you because I'm revoking access. And then maybe a small part of me is like, I want to see you try. Like, I want to see you reach out and like beg a little, and that's enough. And those are the people with that mindset, with people where they're like, they keep getting sucked back into things. Cause it's like, I'm blocking you on the phone, but the Instagram is going to be open. And then you hit me on Instagram. Now we're chatting again.
I definitely block on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'd be like, everything. Don't see me. And I don't like you worried about like when people are like, they watch my stories. Well, if you stop letting them watch your stories,
this is what I'm saying.
Nobody cares.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to block because you're revoking access 100%, not because you want them to work harder.
Yeah.
And that's that manipulation, toxic shit that I've seen, people do. Like you ever see people like cash app $1 to people, be like, I'm sorry, like, because that's the only form of communication. But yeah, I've blocked phone numbers, Instagram, LinkedIn, email.
Dang, I got blocked from the email. I've gotten blocked from email.
Email is crazy because I can make another email if I wanted to. LinkedIn is wild though. Why are you hitting me on LinkedIn? It's crazy.
I didn't get blocked on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is insane to me.
But I'm gonna let y'all know. Yeah, email is crazy too. But I'm unblocked now. It's not you brought up the email, but I blocked. Because I revoke access. That's my thing. Yeah. Your access is revoked. You had your chance. You messed it up. Mm-hmm. I recently had to block someone because they just went, I did tell you about that. They went crazy and I was like.
Unnecessary.
Not you thought you had access you don't get to have.
Right. And then there's like, because I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. Like, one of her old things, like every 6 months comes back and like checks around. And I'm like, why are you still talking to this person? Like, it's sometimes it's on us because people will like, men will like, or whatever. It doesn't even, it's not even a gender thing.
Whoever.
Yeah. But like people will like literally check in and try to wear you down and be like,
but it's I think it's like if you leave the door open, they're going to keep going through it.
That's
like there's people who they know that door is not open because I actually have that conversation. Like, hey, they hit you with the, hey, I'm going to be in town. Hey, big head. I don't care. I hope you have a fabulous time when you're in Dallas. Remarkable.
Have fun. When I was like, in the dating of it all, I was giving termination letters out. Like I'm just typically an oversharer and I like to over communicate. So like when I'm done, you can act aloof, but I'm going to communicate.
Exactly.
These are the reasons. Thank you so much, but we're no longer interested. Wish you the best of luck. And I'm giving you the thing. If you want to read it, cool. If you don't want to read it, cool. It's off my spirit and the door is closed.
Yeah. Yeah. If I internally or mentally close the door is like,
but
shut.
some people
and
don't
it's
do
still
that.
Love for you. We see each other.
Not everybody.
I'm such a loving person. Like I give nothing but love to all of you. And I like hope you say peaceful, kind things about you. There's some people. No, I feel like most people would like kind things about me.
Is that important to you? It has to be because you're like, I'm unblocked now from the email. I bet it was a Yahoo account too.
No, it wasn't. It was Gmail.
Diabolical. I blocked someone on Gchat before. I forgot about that.
I felt that way.
Were you like on Google Chat? Like the chat on the email feed? Man, what was the time? Anyways, we got like a few minutes left. What are our takeaways?
Okay.
Takeaways on email.
Only one has done it. Only one. Only one had the power that he felt he could do it. And I love that for him.
Power he could do it. We're going to unpack that at a later time.
Listen, it's not too many who can get a leg up, but that one I was like, oh my God. Harness the good. That's what I'm gonna leave people with. Harness the good, forgive and move forward. That's it. If there were 3 little takeaways, and stand 10 toes in your gifts, not the gifts that you really, really, really want people to know you for, but the thing that it doesn't cost you anything. It's effort. It's effortless. There's a difference between you have to work at it and hone it and sharpen it. But there's things that it just comes so easy to you. And that's why I was like, I'm so divinely in mine. So
yeah. I'll say try to put the present in the forefront of your decision making instead of the anxiousness of the future or the worrisomeness of the past. Try to be as present as possible. What is going on today in front of you, and move forward from there.
Dang, that one's good, fam.
Like I said when we were mic checking, ha ha ha, joke, shade, and something profound.
She's told y'all
my
how.
offering.
She said this is how the podcast is going to go today.
Not self-bigging myself up, but I ain't never been blocked on email. So.
Thank you for joining me, Jazz Kirk, on Comfortable Conversations. Remember, the greatest gift life can offer you is discomfort. It's what shapes us, teaches us, and helps us grow. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. For more information and updates, follow us on Instagram at Honeydew. That's HUNNIDUOE. Until next time, keep embracing life's challenges as opportunities to create your masterpiece. Your canvas is waiting. Go paint it beautifully.